The wedding day. Gavin, the president of GM Group, put out a help post on their website. My wife's nephew is a succubus. He keeps hanging around her. What should I do? The comments were all over the place. Gavin only liked one of them. Maybe Gavin needs a female succubus? In the hotel lounge, Gavin suddenly woke up, his mind filled with images from before he passed out. His childhood sweetheart, Mandy, was sitting in a wheelchair in her wedding dress. Her godnephew, Justin, dressed in a sleek black top, knelt in front of her, gently lifting her wedding dress and leaving her cheeks flushed. Suddenly, Justin's voice broke his trance. Gavin, you're finally awake. Do you know you fainted and scared Mandy half to death? Gavin lifted his head and saw Justin wearing the suit and wedding ring meant for him, standing right next to Mandy. His anger ignited instantly. Who gave you the right to wear my wedding suit and ring? Justin turned pale. Mandy frowned too. Gavin, you fainted unexpectedly and couldn't be at the ceremony. I had no choice but to have Justin step in for you. We couldn't leave the guests waiting forever. Could we? All of Gavin's anger suddenly got stuck. He had been hands-on with everything for their perfect wedding while managing projects during the day. Mandy had often complained, Gavin, the wedding is important, but you never have time for me. I'm getting jealous. She couldn't possibly not know how much this wedding meant to him. Yet now she easily let Justin take his place. Gavin wanted to call off the wedding right then, but seeing Mandy in her wheelchair stopped him. Her legs were sacrificed to save him. Plus, their marriage linked their families. He couldn't act rashly. A knock on the door interrupted, and a servant's voice came through. Miss, the madam invites you all down to dine. Mandy acknowledged, glanced at Gavin. We'll deal with this later. Let's go eat now. Gavin needed time to think it all over, so he nodded. On their way down, he couldn't help but watch how Mandy and Justin interacted. At the dining room, Gavin realized his parents were still around. Both families gathered around the table, a quiet, tense vibe in the air. Soon enough, Gavin's mom put down her chopsticks, huffing, Your family truly surprised me today, letting a nephew marry the aunt. Justin stood up, pale, lips tight, eyes red with apology. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. I apologize to you. The booth's elders stayed silent. Only Mandy spoke, her voice cold. I suggested it. Vent your anger on me. Justin is just a kid. Gavin's mom looked quite upset. Mandy was always so respectful, but now she stood up for Justin against his mother. Gavin found it hard to bottle his anger. If it was your idea, shouldn't you seriously apologize for what you did? Mandy nodded. Gavin, my oversight caused today. How about this? I'll give you a 5% cut in the family's commercial district project. Good enough? Hearing that, everyone from the booths frowned. 5% meant around 50 million. Gavin's parents seemed relieved but silent, leaving the decision to him. Gavin wasn't in need of the money and disliked how Mandy solved feelings with cash. Yet, this wasn't the place for more arguments. Let's just eat. Without looking at Mandy, he helped his parents with food. After the meal, once his parents were in their car, Gavin and Mandy got in the booth stretch Lincoln to head to their wedding home. Inside, the red festive decor hit him, though none of the delight or happiness from when he decorated remained. Mandy rolled over, taking his cold hand. Gavin, I'm sorry about what happened today. Please don't be mad. Okay. Her eyes held genuine emotion and apology. But Gavin couldn't shake the image of her and Justin out of his mind. Just as he was about to question her, a phone rang urgently. Mandy glanced at it, her expression suddenly anxious, taking the call outside. In the quiet living room, Gavin could clearly hear Justin's breathless voice. Mandy, I feel so bad. So hot. Please save me. Gavin stopped her. Mandy, it's our wedding night. You can't leave. But Mandy didn't turn back. The wedding night can be postponed. But Justin can't do without me. Watching Mandy walk away, Gavin felt incredibly absurd. If Justin needed her, what about him? The wedding was done without him and now, he was left alone on their first night. Did Mandy truly love him? For the first time in over 20 years, Gavin started to doubt it. That night, Mandy never returned. Gavin lay in the red wedding bed, taking forever to fall asleep, only to dream of that accident again, on that mountain road, with the truck barreling down on him. Mandy pushed him out of harm's way at the last moment. He survived, but she could never walk again, bound to her wheelchair. Waking up from the dream, Gavin rubbed his eyebrows, slowly gathering himself before getting out of bed. Downstairs, he immediately spotted Justin at the dining table, his lean form wrapped in light blue silk pajamas. His face held a satisfaction from what must have been a long night. Lost in thought, Gavin walked to the table. Justin spotted him and said with a smile, "Gavin, Mandy and I usually have breakfast together. She didn't want me alone, so she brought me here. You don't mind, do you?" Gavin took a good look at him. Usually, when Justin was around Mandy, he'd have his head down, trailing behind her with a gentle and refined demeanor. He was always respectful and polite towards Gavin. So much so that even though Gavin knew Justin was a succubus, he hadn't given it much thought. "Sir, your milk." A servant placed a cup of hot milk on the table in front of Gavin. "Thanks," Gavin said, and he was about to take a sip when suddenly, someone snatched it from his hands. Justin looked visibly flustered. This was meant for Mandy. Gavin's eyebrows furrowed, realizing something was off. Just as he was about to ask, a sentence mysteriously appeared in front of his eyes. "This has Justin's essence in it." Gavin was taken aback, wondering if he was sleep-deprived and just seeing things. But when he came to, Mandy had already taken the milk from Justin and drank it. Justin looked on and asked, "Mandy, how does the milk taste today?" Mandy gave him a meaningful look. Catching a faint hint of something fishy in the air, Gavin realized the milk actually had. His stomach churned, and he rushed to the bathroom to throw up violently. Returning to the breakfast table, Gavin looked at the lavish spread and lost his appetite. At that moment, Mandy casually suggested, "Gavin, how about going to Hawaii for our honeymoon?" Gavin had been looking forward to the honeymoon for a long time, but now he was in no mood for it. Besides, parting ways with Mandy would likely create a rift between their families, jeopardizing their business alliance. "We should cancel," he said. "The company's too busy, and I can't take time off." After that, he didn't bother waiting for Mandy's response and headed straight to work. After a tiring day, when Gavin returned home, Mandy was nowhere to be found. Only a cup of warm milk sat on the nightstand with a note from Mandy below it. "You've worked hard during this wedding period. Have some milk and rest well." Gavin stared at the white liquid, recalling the strange message from that morning. Ultimately, he skipped drinking it and went to wash up. Falling asleep was hard, and soon he was awoken by some odd, stifled noises. Following the sounds, Gavin found the slightly ajar door of the next room, where familiar sounds of soft moaning and gasping came from. Peering in, he saw Mandy seated in a wheelchair, holding a rope in her hand. The other end of the rope was around Justin's long neck. Justin was unclothed, kneeling on the carpet, his mouth smeared with something that appeared wet and shiny. "Mandy, who makes you feel better, Justin or Gavin?" Mandy responded without hesitation, her voice trembling slightly. "Of course, it's you." Shocked, Gavin staggered back, accidentally knocking over a vase in the hallway with a loud crash. Mandy turned towards the door. Gavin instinctively hid, his back pressed against the cold wall, trying to calm his racing heart. Only when the sounds resumed did he manage to make his way back to his bedroom. Seeing the now cold milk once more, another line of text floated to his vision. "There's a sleeping pill in that milk." Unsure what to think about this strange occurrence, Gavin recalled the events of the morning and called a doctor he knew. The following day, he sent the milk for testing. Soon after returning to work, he received a text from the doctor. "Where did you get this milk from? It has a sleeping pill in it." Gavin felt like a heavy weight had slammed into his chest, leaving a deep ache. He didn't expect Mandy's so-called care to come with such ulterior motives. He clutched his phone tightly. Just then, the office door swung open violently. Mandy rolled in on her wheelchair, holding a soup container. "Still busy? I had the servants make some pigeon soup to help you recover." Gavin didn't budge. Previously, he would have considered himself the luckiest man alive. But now all he could think of was the drugged milk. What exactly is going on with you and Justin? There was a flicker of something in Mandy's eyes, but she quickly countered, Gavin, what's getting into you? Justin is my nephew. As if wanting to reassure him, she added, Justin lost his parents early on, and he relies on me a lot. You're his uncle now too. It's our duty to look after him. In the past, her soothing words would have convinced him that he was overthinking her care for Justin. At this moment, though, he could only see himself as foolishly blind. He didn't want to ask further. Gavin turned away. I understand. I'm busy right now. You should head back to the company. Mandy sensed dismissal in his reply, and her brow furrowed in displeasure, feeling something off. Gavin, are you holding on to a misunderstanding? Ignoring her probing, he kept his head down. No. His cold demeanor found Mandy growing equally tense and irritated. Busy yourself then. After placing the soup on the table, she turned to leave. At the door, she paused, saying, Gavin, I've arranged for the wedding to be prepared again. I assure you it will be even more extravagant. Let's not jeopardize our years of relationship over these trivial issues. With those words, Mandy left. Listening to the door close, Gavin's exhaustion became palpable as he raised his head. Gazing at the soup container left him feeling more suffocated and upset. He loved Mandy, but it didn't mean he could accept betrayal. Closing his eyes, he suppressed any hesitance within and called his assistant in. Get all the projects we're jointly working on with ML Group ready for review. His assistant was surprised, unsure why. But why? Gavin's eyes sharpened. Do it. Realizing he was overstepping, the assistant quickly replied, Yes, sir, and left to gather the information. Gavin sat in his boss chair silent for what felt like forever before he got up, walked over to the coffee table, and threw the soup container Mandy had brought into the trash. He made up his mind to leave Mandy. Before the divorce, he wanted to sever all business ties with Mandy and the Booths. Their families had been associated for many years with countless joint investments, operations, and projects. Breaking all that overnight was a pipe dream. Gavin was swamped all day, and it wasn't until 9 p.m. that he finally had a moment to breathe. That's when he saw the message Mandy sent 3 hours earlier. Gavin, I had Justin's stuff moved to the villa in the bay. He'll be living with us from now on. Gavin stared at the message for a long time, unsure how to respond. Finally, it clicked. Let them move. I won't be staying there for long, he thought. He put his phone down and was about to keep working when it buzzed again. Mandy. Gavin, I'm downstairs at your office to drive you home. If you're not done, I'll come up. A wave of irritation washed over Gavin. How had he never noticed Mandy being this overbearing before? Staring at the documents about separating from the Booths, he replied, Not busy. I'm coming down. Then he packed up and turned out the lights. On their way back to the villa, Gavin feigned sleep, remaining silent. Mandy didn't say a word either. Once home, they saw the newly hired maid respectfully setting cut fruit in front of Justin. Sir, have some fruit. Gavin heard it loud and clear. Not that Mandy missed it, but she remained silent. Gavin was done waiting and didn't want to play dumb. He asked directly, if he's the sir, then what am I? Justin finally noticed him and waved his hands at the maid. Flustered. Aunt, you've got it wrong. I'm just the nephew, he's the uncle. Mandy finally spoke, too. Not recognizing the man of the house, she said calmly to the maid. Go and collect your pay from the housekeeper. You're not needed anymore. She turned to Gavin. Gavin, is this handled to your satisfaction? Their eyes locked, and Gavin didn't want to say any more. I'm feeling tired. Don't call me for dinner. He headed straight upstairs. Barely a few steps in, a strange noise came from the crystal chandelier in the living room. Gavin looked up, his pupils dilating in shock. The massive chandelier above was about to crash right down on Mandy and Justin. Instinct took over, and Gavin darted towards Mandy in her wheelchair. Just then, a sentence flashed before his eyes. Don't go over. Mandy's legs are fine. She and Justin won't get hurt. Too late. Gavin threw himself under the chandelier anyway. The moment it hit, he saw Mandy get up from the wheelchair, yanking Justin to safety and shielding him. Bam! Everything went black for Gavin as searing pain shot through his head. When he woke up, he heard the unbearable sound of water sloshing. He struggled to pry open his heavy lids. Through blurred vision, he saw Justin completely naked, his body moving rhythmically. Mandy, supposedly wheelchair-bound, was perched on a chair by the window, her legs wrapped tightly around Justin. Her fingers dug into his thighs, helping him move up and down. Their low, breathy noises occasionally filled the air. But Gavin didn't care what they were doing. His focus was solely on Mandy's fully functional legs. As if knowing his thoughts, another sentence appeared before him. Mandy's legs were never injured. She married you to gain more benefits from the whites and hide her affair with Justin. Reading those words made Gavin's head throb like needles stabbing into his brain. He let out a pained groan. The sounds of the evening abruptly stopped. He sensed Mandy and Justin's eyes boring into him, but when everything quieted down again, they resumed. Gavin had no clue when they finished. Eventually, when his vision cleared and he opened his eyes again, the hospital room was completely empty. Knock, knock. A knock sounded at the door, and his assistant walked in. Hey Gavin, how's the injury? Reluctantly, Gavin touched the sore spot, his voice hoarse. Nothing major. What's up? The projects with ML Group have been reviewed. Contracts are confirmed, and the ones not started yet are subcontracted. Just needed your input on the ongoing ones. Gavin instructed, for those already underway, reach out to the companies that were bidding before. Quickly wrap up those nearing completion. He paused, recalling something. The shopping center we were building with them, isn't that about to launch? He hesitated but then resolute decided sell it too. The shopping center was a joint effort to commemorate their engagement, meant to symbolize both families as well as his and Mandy's relationship. Both the project and the mall were his blood, sweat, and tears. But since he chose to break away completely from Mandy and the booths, it held no value anymore. The assistant informed him, Gavin, the opening ceremony is today. Mandy already took Justin there. Stunned, Gavin watched the live stream on his assistant's tablet. On stage, Mandy and Justin stood like a couple, unveiling the drape over a plaque. The logo on it read not G&M but M&J, for Mandy and Justin. Gavin stared hard at those two letters. His hand, hooked up to N4, clenched into a fist. Bright red blood began to flow back into the tube, but he didn't even feel the pain. An assistant had to call a nurse to swap out the meds and apply a new bandage. Gavin was in a daze when his mom called. She was furious. Mandy took Justin to the opening ceremony and even changed the mall's name last minute. Everyone's talking about it. She doesn't respect you or our family at all. Don't worry, she reassured him. Your dad and I talked to the booths. Grandpa agreed to send Justin abroad and change the mall's name back. Gavin felt a warmth knowing they cared, though he didn't need it anymore. Mom, Just as he was about to share his decision, Mandy wheeled into the room, shattering any illusion he had of her standing during the day. Mom, Mandy's here. I'll be home in a couple of days. We need to talk. He hung up the call, looking at Mandy without a hint of a smile. Mandy abandoned her usual gentle demeanor and got straight to the point. You've been through a lot recently. I transferred the West City land to your name. Please talk to Grandpa and let Justin stay. When the whites were struggling, Gavin had offered big money for that land, but Mandy wouldn't budge. Now she was giving it away so easily, for Justin. The irony was not lost on Gavin. Sure, but you have to promise me something. Mandy quickly agreed. Okay, as long as I can manage. Stand up, he replied coldly. Mandy's eyes flickered with unreadable emotion but quickly lowered in a feigned look of vulnerability. You saw me stand up. I thought I could. But after that, the doctor said it was just an adrenaline rush. What kind of rush kept her and Justin passionately tangled from the chandelier falling incident all the way to the hospital? A self-deprecating feeling spread through Gavin. He chuckled bitterly but didn't press further. For the next 2 weeks, whether out of guilt or something else, Mandy stayed by his side, caring for him with such attention that even the doctors and nurses couldn't help but praise their bond, admiring Mandy's devotion. 2 weeks later, as Gavin was finally discharged, Mandy canceled all her company meetings to personally take him home. The moment they walked in, Gavin was surprised by the sight. Flowers adorned the entire villa, and a romantic candlelit dinner was set on the round table. "How do you like it?" Mandy asked softly, her eyes full of affection, just like 3 years ago when she proposed. Who doesn't like romance? But this romance was not what Gavin wanted anymore. Not since he found out about her and Justin. "What's all this for?" he asked, suppressing his mixed emotions. Mandy didn't answer. Instead, she gently seated him and served his favorite dishes, all while saying, "These are your favorites. I cooked them myself. Try some." As candlelight flickered, Gavin looked into her gentle eyes. Every bite tasted like ash. Then Mandy pulled out a velvet ring box. Inside was a ring sparkling with tiny diamonds. "I made this ring myself, Gavin. I wanted to make up for not giving you a wedding ring." Her gaze was full of love, but all Gavin saw were the cruel words floating before his eyes. The ring was a lie, bought by her assistant. Every night during your hospital stay, she snuck off to be with Justin. Thanks to the milk incident, he no longer doubted the truth of these words. He just didn't know when Mandy and Justin had started their affair. How long had he been fooled? Gavin's throat tightened as he was about to speak, when a sharp phone ring interrupted him. Mandy's face shifted seeing the caller, and she hurried to answer. Justin's trembling voice came through. "Mandy, Grandpa wants me to get engaged to Lily next week. I don't want to. I don't even like her. I'd rather die than marry her." "Don't say that." Mandy scolded him gently. "Stay put. I'm coming over." As she wheeled out, she left without a word of explanation. The room suddenly felt emptier, the act abruptly ending. Gavin stared at the ring still in its box and chuckled ironically. He tossed the whole thing into the trash, discarding the last traces of attachment he felt for Mandy. With that settled, Gavin headed upstairs to pack. Amidst his tasks, a crumpled piece of clothing on the windowsill caught his attention. Picking up the silk outfit, words appeared before him. Justin wore this during yesterday's escapade with Mandy. Immediately, Gavin felt his stomach churn. He hurled the clothes into the trash before even washing his hands, when the words appeared again, urging him, "Check the basement. There's a surprise." Assuming it was more of Mandy and Justin's antics, Gavin hesitated, but ultimately curiosity got the better of him. In the basement, as the lights flicked on, he stood frozen. The entire room was covered in mirrors. In the open shelf on the wall, there were all sorts of toys that made you blush just looking at them. Without exception, every single one looked like it had been used. Gavin felt numb and didn't want to look anymore, so he turned around and left the basement without looking back. When he got back to the living room, his assistant was already waiting for him. Seeing Gavin, the assistant quickly handed him a contract to review. "Gavin, this is the contract you need to sign today." Gavin took a quick look. It was just a regular real estate contract. He picked up a pen, ready to sign it. Then words appeared again in his mind. Isn't he the CEO? How come he can't see the problem in the contract? Dumb and boring. No wonder Gavin can't part with his nephew. Gavin stopped short and quickly went through the contract, breaking out in a cold sweat when he spotted the holes. If he signed it, GM Group would face bankruptcy because of a funding issue. Who was behind this? As he mentally scanned through suspicious people, words slowly floated in front of him like a lightning bolt striking his heart. Mandy. Mandy realized she couldn't keep it under wraps anymore, so she planned for GM Group to go bankrupt, intending to take full control of it. Gavin had no doubt in these words. He had seen Mandy's ruthless side in business and never suspected that she would turn it on him. Since Mandy was always so confident, thinking that no matter what she did, he would never leave her, he decided to give her a big present to shatter her delusion completely. Gavin sent his assistant away, grabbed a golf club, and smashed all the wine cabinets at home. As the expensive wines shattered, past memories flashed through his mind. While decorating their wedding house, Mandy had helped him put each bottle in the wine cabinet. She cuddled in his arms with a sweet smile, saying, "The wine doesn't get people drunk. People get themselves drunk." Even when hanging wedding photos, Mandy insisted on being involved despite being in a wheelchair. Once he finished smashing everything, the rich scent of wine filled the villa. Gavin didn't hesitate. He left the villa, tossing a lighter behind him. In an instant, the villa was engulfed in flames. The fire not only consumed the basement where Mandy and her nephew were, but also burned away all of Gavin's feelings and memories of her. As the ashes floated away, the familiar long Lincoln stopped in front of the villa. Before leaving, Gavin saw Mandy and Justin's panicked expressions. Elsewhere, Mandy finally waited for the fire to be extinguished. She surveyed the destruction, while Justin complained, "Mandy, how did this fire even start? Now all our treasured toys are gone. But you'll get more for me, right?" "Of course," Mandy replied with a gentle smile, though Gavin's face suddenly flashed in her mind. She remembered the care he put into every moment here. She pushed Justin away. "I need to find Gavin. He values this house. If it's destroyed, he'll be upset." With that, Mandy ignored Justin's attempts to stop her and got into her car. On her way to GM Group's office, she picked up her phone to call Gavin but got no answer. She thought about his recent coldness, and a strange unease arose in her heart. Just then, her phone began to buzz urgently. Thinking it was Gavin, she looked down only to see a series of messages from her assistant. "Mandy, something big happened. Check the official GM Group Twitter. Gavin is having a press conference." With furrowed brows, Mandy clicked the link sent by her assistant. The screen quickly switched to GM Group's live press conference. In the video, Gavin sat in the middle, his sharp eyes piercing through the screen. He spoke each word clearly with determination. "My divorce proceedings with Mandy have officially begun. GM Group has terminated all partnerships with ML Group. From today on, any project with GM Group will never include ML Group until death do us part." Stunned, Mandy froze, her mind blank. Every word from Gavin was crystal clear in her mind. Divorce. No ties between GM Group and ML Group. No peace until death. The reality hit her unexpectedly, and before Mandy could process it, the car stopped at GM Group's entrance. She stared at her now black phone screen, motionless for a long time. She didn't remember how she got back to ML Group. A knock on her office door jolted her back. A subordinate walked in, placing the divorce papers in front of her. "Mandy, this was sent by Mr. Gavin's assistant." She looked at the divorce papers but didn't reach out to take them for a long time. Her complexion was terrible. Her dark eyes swirled with emotions. An assistant stepped forward, took the divorce papers, and set them on the desk before leaving with everyone else. The door shut, leaving the office deathly quiet. After some time, Mandy regained her composure, her gaze drifting to the papers on the desk. The divorce papers lay there quietly. She dragged her stiff body to the desk, reaching for the papers. Gavin had already signed them. His handwriting was smooth and showed no hesitation. Mandy's heart felt slashed by Gavin's name, each ache consuming her. Just then, she realized with piercing clarity that Gavin truly wanted a divorce, to sever everything about her. Thinking of this, her chest ached, a faint panic bubbling up. Mandy didn't sign. She threw the divorce papers into the trash. At this moment, Justin came in through the door. In recent days, his desires and body had been immensely satisfied, and his demeanor was rosy, his eyes captivating. "Mandy, what's wrong?" he asked, his eyes lighting up at the sight of the divorce papers in the trash. Opening his arms, he pulled Mandy's rigid body into an embrace, his voice low and hushed. "Is Gavin divorcing you?" "I'm not getting a divorce." Mandy finally spoke her first words, her voice shaking uncontrollably. Justin paused, biting his lip in frustration. Why not divorce? Doesn't Mandy like Justin? Justin and Mandy aren't blood related. They're only an aunt and nephew by title. Over the years, because of Mandy's special succubus physiology, she's been around to help him manage his desires, using her body as a remedy. Though sometimes, when he's really hungry, he can't stop himself from wanting other women, he genuinely likes Mandy. Mandy has always been good to him, protecting him in every way. Mandy broke free from Justin's grasp and said firmly, "This is different." Justin's voice grew agitated. "How is it different?" Mandy wasn't sure how it was different. There was just a voice deep inside her telling her she couldn't get a divorce. It felt like if she signed those divorce papers with Gavin, she'd live with regret forever. After calming Justin down, Mandy received a call from the Booths' old family house, asking her to come home. Gavin's statement at the press conference had caused quite the stir. The two families, always on good terms, were now in a bitter standoff, escalating to a point of no return. The speculation was rampant. Everyone was guessing what might have happened. Then, the incident from a month ago resurfaced, where Mandy and her nephew Justin attended an unveiling event and the mall was renamed at the last moment. The fact that Mandy and Justin were only aunt and nephew in name wasn't a secret among insiders. Some speculated that Mandy had an improper relationship with her nephew Justin behind the scenes, and that Gavin found out, leading to this breaking point. The combination of aunt and nephew in one scandal was explosive news. The media had caught on to the key information and were ready to report it, but the Booths paid to suppress the news. Late at night, at the Booths' old family home, the atmosphere in the hall was tense and oppressive. Grandpa wasn't speaking, and no one else dared to break the silence. Today's events had thoroughly embarrassed the Booths in the social circle. As the main cause, Mandy sat silently with her head down, her expression unreadable. On her way to the old house, she got a message from her assistant. Gavin used the situation to sever all the business ties between the two families. Their connections ran deep, so Gavin must have been prepared to break ties so swiftly. When did he start planning this? Mandy wondered as Grandpa finally spoke, looking past her. "Why didn't Justin come back with you?" Mandy paused. "Justin's not feeling well. I told him to rest at home." Grandpa huffed, not believing her. "Since we're all here today, you better explain what's going on between you and Justin." Mandy stayed silent for a long time before speaking softly. "Justin and I are just aunt and nephew." At this, Grandpa couldn't hold back his anger. "You're still not telling the truth." Mandy pressed her lips together, silent. Seeing Grandpa's expression darken, Mandy's mother stepped in to defuse the situation. "Dad." Mandy raised Justin herself. "They're close naturally." But as she spoke, Mandy's mother's voice faded away. Everyone knew what the relationship was between Mandy and Justin. Even if nothing ever happened between them, one of them surely had feelings for the other. Grandpa looked at the still silent Mandy, sighed, and waved his hand. "You ask me. Let's send Justin abroad in a few days." Given all the uproar, he won't escape the judgmental eyes if he stays here. He might as well lay low abroad and come back if needed. Mandy quickly lifted her head at these words. She knew Grandpa meant well, but there was no way Justin could leave her right now. In the end, Mandy admitted to her and Justin's relationship, but blamed everything on herself. "This whole mess is my fault. Justin's young and easily influenced. Don't blame him. Grandpa, please don't send Justin abroad. He's grown up here, and being suddenly moved to a place he doesn't know, I worry for his safety." Mandy's father also intervened. "Yes, Dad, they'll break ties and just see each other less." Mandy's mother joined in. Normally, Justin was well behaved, and Mandy was mature and obedient, never defying her elders. Unexpectedly, this time they'd done something so reckless and humiliating. Everyone in the hall took turns trying to persuade Grandpa. Since it had already happened, really changing things was impossible now. Grandpa sighed, agreeing not to send Justin abroad. But after so many years of friendship between the Booths and the Whites, something had to be done to explain the situation. Moreover, the current public opinion wasn't favorable for ML Group. If the Whites could see past it and announce peace between the families, it would be a great help. With that, Grandpa looked at Mandy's parents, instructing them, "Tomorrow, take Mandy to the Whites to apologize. Be sincere, and have her sign the divorce papers with Gavin to end this marriage quickly." After all, they owed Gavin an explanation. Mandy's father quickly agreed, but Mandy was still unwilling. Her face was grim, and her hands clenched tightly. "I'll apologize to the Whites tomorrow and provide compensation, but I won't get a divorce." Grandpa was really mad. He jumped up from his chair and raised his cane, hitting her hard. Mandy sat in a wheelchair. She couldn't dodge and she didn't try to. The cane hit her shoulder, making her bite her lip in pain. Mandy's mom watched, feeling torn but not daring to intervene. She and Mandy's father just stood there, looking on. Grandpa looked furious, pointing at Mandy. You won't divorce? Why can't you divorce? After what you did with Justin, why do you think Gavin will ever forgive you? It's too late for regrets now. This is not up for discussion. You must divorce. Mandy felt a sting in her heart. She faced Grandpa firmly. I won't divorce. Grandpa's eyes darkened with anger, his hands trembling. Mandy's father quickly stepped forward to steady him, gently soothing his back. Mandy's mom frowned, unable to hold back. You brought this on yourself. You had a good life with Gavin, but you wouldn't let go of Justin. Now look where it got you. Mandy never caused trouble growing up. She always did things perfectly. Who knew she'd turn so stubborn? Grandpa said, fine, if you won't divorce, then Justin has no business staying in the country. Mandy froze, looking up at Grandpa. He turned his back on her, offering only two choices. Choose either Gavin or Justin. Divorce Gavin or send Justin abroad and never contact him again. Mandy didn't want either. Justin needed her, so he couldn't go overseas. She had genuine feelings for Gavin after being together for so long, so she didn't want a divorce either. But now her parents and Grandpa were forcing a choice on her. Despite how unwilling she felt, Mandy had to weigh how important each choice was to her. Finally, she chose Justin. Grandpa's expression softened, and he went upstairs after a few words. The next day, Mandy's parents and Mandy brought gifts to apologize to the Whites. Mandy hadn't been to the Whites' place since right before marrying Gavin. Back then, they welcomed her warmly. Now, it was different. They'd been at the door a while and still no one greeted them. Gavin's parents adored him. Mandy put him through this. Of course, they were upset. It was lucky they weren't thrown out. Understanding this, Mandy's mom led them inside the hall. Gavin's parents were there. They'd been notified when the group arrived. They sat drinking tea, not even looking up as Mandy and her parents entered. Mandy glanced around, noticing Gavin wasn't there. Her parents made some small talk, trying to ease the tension, but Gavin's parents remained silent. The air felt heavy. Gavin's dad occasionally glanced at Mandy, clearly waiting for her to speak. Her mom nudged her, urging Mandy to say something. Mandy came to her senses and approached softly. Mom, Dad, Gavin's dad cut in gruffly. Don't call us that. Just say what you need to say. Mandy stiffened, her voice low. I'm sorry to Gavin. Is he home? Can I talk to him? Gavin's mom, with a cold look, set her cup down. Gavin isn't here. Say what you want here. Mandy pressed her lips together, staying silent. Seeing this, her mom tried covering with nice words, but it didn't work. Gavin's parents, unfazed, tossed a divorce agreement on the table. A professional lawyer drew up this divorce contract. The asset division is clear. If there aren't any issues, just sign it. Pick a day to finalize the divorce with Gavin. After that, our families won't have any ties. Mandy stood still. Her mom nudged her when the atmosphere grew tense. I need to see Gavin or I won't sign, Mandy stated. Everyone's faces changed. Gavin's parents looked even more displeased, their patience wearing thin. Mandy had crossed a line. She showed no sincerity in her apology and dared to cling to their son. Did she expect forgiveness and to keep the marriage going? Just then, footsteps came from the stairs. Everyone turned to look. Gavin slowly descended, holding the railing. Gavin's mom quickly approached him. Gavin, I thought I told you to stay in your room. Why did you come down? Gavin reassured her, patting her hand, then faced Mandy. He had overheard everything she said. Can you sign it now? Gavin asked calmly. His parents wanted to shield him from more pain and told him to stay out of it. But Gavin knew Mandy wouldn't sign the divorce papers easily. Last time, his assistant delivered the divorce papers to Mandy's office, and she tossed them in the trash. He'd heard. Gavin didn't believe Mandy's reluctance to divorce stemmed from lingering affection for him. Ignoring the pain in her chest, she replied, "Let's talk privately." Gavin nodded, offering a comforting glance to his parents before leaving. In the White's garden gazebo, the weather's great today. The sun's shining, and there's not a cloud in the sky. In the courtyard, the flower beds are blooming beautifully, and the fragrance is everywhere. Gavin and Mandy are sitting face to face. This is the first time Gavin has sat this calmly with her since he found out about her and Justin. But it's only calm in his mind. Inside, Mandy is a mess. She keeps her lips tight, staring right at Gavin without any hesitation. The divorce papers are right by Gavin's side, with a pen lying nearby. It's like he thinks a few words from Mandy will have him rushing to get her to sign and then walk away. Just the thought of him being so eager to cut ties makes Mandy's anger rise up and swirl around. She's gripping her hands so tightly, her face dark with emotion. Gavin, seeing Mandy's silence and odd expression, frowns in confusion and says, "What do you really want to talk about?" Mandy's voice is a bit hoarse. "I'll end things with Justin. I can give you the resources you want." As she says this, she pauses, her voice suddenly choked with emotion. "So, can we not divorce?" Gavin is stunned at first, then he pulls out a mocking laugh. "Really? You think you can fool me again? Say one thing and hide him behind my back again? Mandy, you're an adult. Isn't it time to stop playing these games?" Mandy is taken aback and suddenly at a loss for words. "I'm serious this time, I haven't lied to you," she stammers. If only Mandy hadn't deceived him back then, maybe they wouldn't have ended up like this. They've known each other since they were kids, and he values their relationship. Even if Mandy hurt him and fell for Justin. Had Mandy chosen honesty, explained things and apologized, Gavin might have agreed to a peaceful divorce, even at a cost to the business. But disappointment followed disappointment and heartache until he was completely done. Back then, Mandy's eyes were only for Justin. She never noticed him. And now that he's given up, she's trying to win him back? It's almost laughable. Gavin forces a smile, his eyes filled with sarcasm. "Is that so? But after everything you've done, how am I supposed to trust you? Even if you are telling the truth now, it doesn't matter to me. Just sign the divorce papers already. If you want to drag this out longer, I've got time. One way or another, I'm divorcing you." Gavin pushes the divorce papers toward Mandy, his expression indifferent. Mandy lowers her eyes to the divorce papers on the table, feeling like her heart is being ripped apart. So Gavin can be this cold and hurtful too. Seeing her still not moving, Gavin's face turns completely cold. "Mandy, I have a video you might find interesting." Mandy is surprised and looks up at him. Gavin sneers, pulling out his phone and showing her a video. It's footage of her and Justin intimately, a scene that's quite revealing. Mandy's face turns sour, and she tightens her fists. "When was this taken?" Gavin puts his phone away slowly, saying, "You two messing around behind my back every day like it's nothing. Did you think I didn't know? Mandy, you should realize what releasing this video would do to the ML group, right?" Of course, Mandy understands. Gavin announcing a relentless fight with ML Group at the press conference had put them at the center of public opinion. Releasing this video would only confirm the scandal between aunt and nephew. The ML Group's image would be tarnished, leading to a drop in market reputation and negatively impacting its future. Gavin looks indifferent. "Just sign it. Don't waste any more of our time." He's lost all patience, looking at the woman he once loved, now feeling only indifference and disgust. Mandy stares at him for a long time, dazed. Gavin's expression doesn't change, still endlessly cold. He used to never look at her like this. When did the love in his eyes fade away? Mandy wonders, disoriented. She picks up the pen, her hand trembling as she signs. Seeing her finally sign, Gavin silently breathes a sigh of relief. With one major issue resolved, his mood noticeably lifts. Gavin takes his copy of the divorce papers after checking them over. He stands up, telling Mandy, "Meet me at the Civil Affairs office at 8 in the morning. I have time then." Saying that, Gavin turns and leaves without waiting for Mandy to respond. The next morning, Gavin gets up at 6 to get ready. He showers, styles his hair at the vanity, and then picks his outfit for the day. You'd think he was going on a date, not getting a divorce at the courthouse. For Gavin, saying goodbye to a failed marriage feels like a rebirth. At 8 a.m., Gavin arrives promptly at the courthouse. But he'd been overly optimistic. Mandy was a whole hour late. Mandy is usually so punctual. She strictly manages her time and never arrives late. By the time it got close to 10, Gavin couldn't help but call her. Takes half a minute before she answers. There's noise in the background, sometimes a car horn, as if she's on the road. Gavin's voice is cold. How much longer? Sorry, I'm stuck in traffic. It'll be about another hour. Mandy's voice seems casual, like she really is just late because of traffic. But Gavin recalls the road from her house to the courthouse, which never has traffic. Does Mandy think stalling will stop the divorce? That's just childish. Hurry up. I don't have time to waste with you. After Gavin hung up the phone, he found a nearby cafe to rest. His legs were killing him from standing outside the marriage registry for so long. By 11:30 in the morning, Mandy finally showed up. In contrast to the lively Gavin, Mandy looked a bit of a mess. Her hair was disheveled, and she seemed exhausted with dark circles under her eyes, probably from a rough night. She glanced at him and forced a smile. Sorry I'm late. Gavin nodded coldly. Let's go to the registry. With that, Gavin turned away and walked in briskly. Mandy, wobbling in her high heels, slowly followed. Where there once was a crowd in the marriage registry, only a few scattered people remained now. They approached window number 5. The staff stared at them blankly and started asking some basic questions. They answered as usual. Gavin's face was calm and somewhat relieved, while Mandy kept her head down, looking gloomy. After clarifying the situation, the staff took out the divorce certificate, ready to stamp it. At that moment, Mandy turned to Gavin with a pleading look she didn't even realize she had. Gavin, are we really going through with this? Gavin was silent for a moment before speaking coldly. We are here today because of you, not me. As he finished, the staff stamped the divorce certificate decisively. Their marriage was officially over at that moment. Handing them the divorce papers, the staff said, All right, your divorce is finalized. I hope you both move on to new chapters in your lives. They took their copies. Mandy stared at the dark red certificate, feeling her eyes sting. Gavin merely glanced at it before stuffing it into his pocket without a trace of hesitation or sorrow on his face. They walked out of the registry. At some point, it had started drizzling. Mandy looked up at the sky, contemplating saying something. But within a heartbeat, Gavin shielded his head with his hand and ran into the rain toward his car parked not far away. Mandy stood there, quietly watching as he got into the car and drove away, disappearing from the registry's entrance. For a moment, she felt like getting up from the wheelchair and chasing after him. But Mandy was tired of pretending to be disabled and saw no reason anymore. She went back home, divorce papers in hand, feeling lost. As she opened the door, a tall figure suddenly appeared in the dark and rushed toward her. Mandy tensed up instantly, but the familiar scent relaxed her. Justin, how did you sneak out here? The other day, after Mandy returned from the old house, Justin had been taken back there immediately. Knowing it would be tough to see Mandy again, Justin had thrown quite the tantrum, but it hadn't helped. He even ended up grounded. Justin didn't respond. He seemed overheated and a bit out of it, his hands frantically roaming over her, igniting sparks everywhere. Mandy, annoyed and not in the mood, grabbed Justin's wandering hand before he went too far. Feeling her resistance, Justin snapped to a sliver of his senses, lowering his head miserably. Mandy, Justin feels so bad. Don't you care about Justin anymore? Mandy frowned, trying to pull away. But Justin clung to her like an octopus, refusing to let go. Exasperated, she asked, Didn't you drink the special medicine I got for you? Ever since finding out about Justin's succubus nature, Mandy had been working on getting help. She had hired doctors overseas to design medicine that could help Justin live normally. Over the years, they developed a special potion to substitute for the energy he needed. Unfortunately, a cure to completely eliminate his condition was still out of reach. Hearing this, Justin's eyes welled up with tears, until they fell like broken pearls. "Mandy, don't you want Justin anymore?" he sobbed. "No." Seeing him cry broke Mandy's heart. After all, she had raised him since he was young. She wiped his tears, helping him into the room, patiently persuading him to take the medicine. After a while, Justin's feverish temperature subsided and his clarity returned. Yet, he still looked downtrodden, as if some great injustice had befallen him. When asked, he looked up, tear-streaked, and sulked. "When Justin becomes normal, Mandy won't do this with Justin anymore. Will you?" Mandy hugged him, soothing him gently. "Of course not. I paid those doctors to give you a normal life, so you can live happily in this world like everyone else. Justin's condition, without someone's protection, would easily be exploited, and Mandy couldn't stay by his side forever." But Justin interpreted it differently, thinking Mandy wanted to push him away. He wasn't blind. He saw Mandy's feelings for Gavin. The thought made him crazily jealous, desperately trying to get reassurance from Mandy. But she didn't give him the answer he wanted. Feeling unsatisfied, Justin slipped out while Mandy worked in the study. She only realized it when the sky had completely darkened. That night, her phone received 2 forwarded videos from her assistant. One showed Justin sneaking out, drinking, and flirting with unfamiliar women. The other featured Gavin, her freshly divorced husband, from earlier at the registry. Mandy sat in her office chair, glued to the video playing on her phone. The screen's cold light illuminated her somber face. In the video, Gavin was seated in a VIP booth at a bar, surrounded by 4 or 5 stunning women. One of them was cozied up next to him, leaning into his arm. Gavin didn't just ignore it. He leaned over and said something in her ear. With a thud, Mandy tossed the phone onto the table. Her face tense, she opened a file her subordinate had just sent. But minutes passed, and she didn't absorb a single word. That video kept playing in her head, making her chest feel tight and her mood worsen. After a while, she picked up the phone again, hesitating for a few seconds before dialing Gavin's number. As the line rang, she clenched her fist, feeling a strange sense of tension. Finally, after about 30 seconds, someone picked up. Before Mandy could say anything, a sultry female voice came through the phone. "Hello? Who is it this late?" Mandy's face turned stone cold, and she spoke through gritted teeth. "Who are you? Where's Gavin?" On the other end, the woman seemed flustered and took a moment to respond. "He's in the shower. Do you need him for something?" The word brother repeated in Mandy's mind, sparking an ironic laugh. How long had it been since the divorce, and Gavin was shamelessly parading women around. His actions were like stomping on her pride. "Get him on the phone. I have something to say," Mandy demanded with the commanding tone familiar to those who obey. The woman agreed reluctantly. "All right, hold on." There were sounds of shuffling as the woman seemed to get out of bed. Mandy's face grew darker. The woman called out, "Hey, Mandy's calling for you." Mandy sat up straighter, ready to confront Gavin. A muffled voice came through. "Just hang up, please, and block her while you're at it. I forgot to do it earlier." The call ended abruptly, leaving the study in silence. Mandy was frozen, disbelief flashing across her eyes. Imagining Gavin and the woman, she couldn't calm down. She almost stood up to confront him but sat back down, filled with simmering anger. Time slipped by before Mandy remembered Justin. It was the first time Gavin had consumed her attention so completely that she had forgotten about Justin. She quickly dialed her assistant. He picked up, anticipating her concern. "Hey, Mandy. I've already sent Justin back to the old house. No need to worry." Breathing a sigh of relief, Mandy thanked her assistant and hung up. Meanwhile, Gavin finished his shower and changed. The woman approached him eagerly. "Who was that woman on the phone?" she asked. Gavin glanced at her, not bothering to answer. Earlier, at the bar, she'd spilled an entire bottle of wine on him by accident. When she suggested going to a nearby hotel to change, Gavin saw right through her ploy. But he was out to have fun, to celebrate his newfound freedom, so he let it slide. Dressed again, he grabbed his car keys and headed for the door. The woman blocked him, pressing closer as if to tempt him. Gavin paused, then curved his lips into a smile. "No thanks, I'm not interested." He transferred some money to her and left, unfazed. Work had kept Gavin busy for so long. He hadn't enjoyed a night out in ages. Following his foreign friend's advice, he had tried to unwind at the bar. But even so, he wasn't about to jump into things with strangers. Divorced, Gavin poured himself into his company's growth, hardly stopping to eat. Despite the grind, he found it fulfilling, though his folks pitied him, often bringing meals to him at work. Over a month flew by. His life settled into a calm routine. When not working, he spent time with his family, chatting over meals. One evening, after finishing his pile of tasks, he left the office for home. In the underground parking garage, an unexpected figure caught his eye. He halted, surprised. Mandy looked up at him. It was their first meeting since he'd blocked her over a month ago. She hadn't tried to reach out since, except for the occasional anonymous text urging him to rest. Gavin surveyed her. Mandy didn't seem well. She looked thinner, her face worn and no longer radiant or dignified. She just stared at him, not saying a word. Mandy could stand now, having undergone countless treatments without his knowledge. Her supposed medical miracle seemed laughable to Gavin. He remembered when Mandy had deceived him, making him believe he was the reason she'd never walk again, confined to a wheelchair forever. This weighed on Gavin for a long time, leaving him with a guilt so deep that he couldn't even face her. Eventually, though, with Mandy and her family's encouragement, he accepted it. Back then, Gavin held a swirl of emotions for Mandy. Gratitude, guilt, and deep affection. He even vowed that no matter what, he'd always be there for her. But then, someone on the chat told him the truth. Mandy's leg disability was fake, just a ploy to exploit his guilt and cover up her shady relationship with Justin. That revelation hit Gavin like a blast of cold air, chilling him to the bone. He never imagined Mandy would deceive him about something so serious, especially just to be with Justin, staying in a chair for years. It was almost laughable. In the underground parking lot, the wind howled, and time seemed to stretch. Finally, with a cold expression, Gavin spoke. "Do you need something?" Mandy's lips parted but then closed again. She had so much to say to Gavin, but facing his indifferent face, she found herself choked up, lost for words. Sometimes people only realize what they had when it's gone. While Gavin was around, she took him for granted. Only now that he had truly left did she understand his importance. This past month, Mandy had been dealing with the company's scandals and lost herself in work. Yet late at night, she couldn't help but think about Gavin. Remembering his kindness when she was ill, how he cared for her, how gently he would advise her when she was exhausted. "Mandy, if you're tired, take some time off. I'll handle the company stuff. Don't worry." She recalled so many moments, and with each memory, her regret grew. Gavin's cold expression, his unhesitant departure, lingered in her mind, causing her nothing but pain. At one point, Mandy even hated herself a little. Her rational side told her to accept that they'd split and to wish him well. But deep down, she couldn't let go of Gavin. After torturing herself for a long time, Mandy finally couldn't resist coming over tonight. Gavin had been waiting but grew impatient as Mandy said nothing, just staring blankly at him. "If there's nothing, I'll be off," he said, moving past her, pulling his car keys from his bag. But just a few steps away, he felt his wrist grabbed. Mandy's voice was pleading, "Don't go, Gavin. I have something to say." Gavin's face turned icy, words cutting like frost. "Let go. You're filthy." Mandy froze, those words piercing her heart like an arrow. She clenched her fists in her palms to keep her composure. While her mind stalled, Gavin jerked away from her grip, striding forward. He didn't know why Mandy came tonight, nor did he care what she had to say. But disgust was evident. Those hands of Mandy's, who knows how often they had been on Justin, or what disgusting acts she'd done behind his back. Thinking of this, Gavin pulled out a tissue from his bag, wiping where she'd touched. Watching this, Mandy felt a sharp, indescribable pain. She quickly followed him, staying a short distance behind. Gavin, I've really regretted it lately, hurting you for Justin, ruining us. I might have had feelings for him before, but recently I've realized I truly love you. Can we try again? Gavin paused, stunned by her words. He turned around, looked at her for a moment, then laughed as if he'd heard a joke. Mandy, what are you up to this time? If you really like Justin, just tell the old man. Marry him, you're not really related anyway. No need to use me as a shield. The memories of Mandy's lies and threats were fresh in Gavin's mind, and he couldn't envision her regretting their breakup. Mandy's throat felt tight as she spoke. I'm not lying. I'm serious this time. It was late, and Gavin wasn't interested in sorting truth from lies. He reached his car, got in, and drove off. In his rearview mirror, Mandy's silhouette slowly faded. Gavin turned his gaze away and didn't look back. Since that press conference, he'd decided to cut ties with the family completely. That mysterious message never appeared again. But regardless, he's grateful it tipped him off, saving him from being a fool. Back home, Gavin showered, washing away his fatigue. Afterward, as he checked his phone and prepared to sleep, an unfamiliar text popped up. Gavin, I won't give up. I'll prove it to you. He instantly knew it was Mandy, and with a tap, he blocked the number. The next morning, his alarm rang. Gavin woke up, got ready, and dressed in a simple casual outfit. He had a person to pick up from the airport today. The thought of seeing them made him feel unexpectedly happy. He had a quick breakfast and drove to the airport. The place was bustling, full of travelers. Gavin waited near the gates. 5 minutes passed, and a fair-skinned woman emerged from the crowd. Gavin quickly waved at her. Hey, Anna, over here. Anna looked up when she heard his voice. The moment she saw him, a gentle smile spread across her face. She wheeled her suitcase out of the exit and stopped in front of Gavin. Gavin, long time no see, she greeted. Gavin smiled back. Yeah, it's been a while. They shared a quick hug in the busy airport lobby before pulling apart. Thanks for picking me up today, Gavin, Anna said with a smile. I know it's a bit of a hassle. No worries, you're too kind. Gavin offered. Anna, since you just got off the plane, should I take you home to rest first? Hearing this, Anna looked at him, a bit helpless. How many years has it been since graduation? Why do you still call me Anna, like back then? Gavin hesitated for a second, then replied, I'm just used to it. Plus, it feels a bit more endearing. Anna laughed softly, patting his shoulder lightly. Well, how about just calling me Anna? Isn't that even more endearing? Gavin was taken aback for a few seconds. Seeing her relaxed expression, he smiled and replied, Okay, Anna. She nodded, satisfied. Any awkwardness from years of not seeing each other melted away as they walked out of the airport, chatting and laughing. Anna was Gavin's senior in college, someone he really looked up to. She was smart, kind, and had a good family background. Back then, they were close, always studying together, and she'd patiently help him with difficult problems. They even signed up for competitions together, practically inseparable while preparing. Because of that closeness, some guys at school who had a crush on Anna used to give Gavin a hard time. And back then, Gavin had been with Mandy for 3 months, leading to a big fight because of all this drama. But everything changed when Anna went abroad during her junior year, ending any unresolved conflicts. Thinking back, Gavin realized it's been years since they last met. Anna was back in town to visit her elderly grandma. As Gavin drove, waiting at a red light, he asked, Anna, how long are you staying this time? Not sure, but definitely longer than it'll take for you to get used to just calling me Anna, she teased. Her comment made Gavin chuckle, and he quickly made up for it by calling her Anna a few more times, which she playfully acknowledged. Despite the years apart, their banter made it seem like no time had passed. Gavin was curious about her life abroad, but Anna turned the conversation back to him. Enough about me. How have you been these past years? Gavin paused, and not too bad. Anna noticed the slight change in his mood and, carefully choosing her words, asked, I heard you and Mandy divorced? Gavin was a bit taken aback by her knowledge of his recent life, given that Anna had hardly come back since going abroad. After everything that happened with Mandy, he distanced himself from Anna. Honestly, their only contact in years was her reaching out about this trip. Seeing his silence, Anna quickly apologized. Sorry, didn't mean to bring up anything painful. Gavin shook his head, mustering a smile. It's all right. Yeah, I'm divorced, but it doesn't really feel like a loss. More like a relief. Anna heard the ease in his tone and couldn't help but feel happy for him. Well, whatever happened, congrats on that fresh start. Gavin glanced at her, smiling. Thanks. After dropping Anna off, Gavin headed back to work. Anna planned to spend some time with her grandmother before meeting up again in a few days. Gavin understood, setting a date for their next hangout. Back at the office, Gavin buried himself in a mountain of work, barely noticing the hours flying by until darkness fell outside. He rubbed his eyes, got up, and wandered to the floor-to-ceiling windows. From up high, he gazed out at the sprawling city below, the hustle of people and cars, the vibrant neon lights. These moments of solitude after a long workday became rare pockets of peace for him. But his reverie was cut short by his phone buzzing on the desk. Glancing at the screen, Gavin saw a message from Anna. Still working overtime? He quickly typed back, yeah, why do you ask? Her reply was almost instant. Figured you hadn't eaten, so I ordered you some sushi. Should be there soon. As soon as he sent a thank you, a knock came at the office door. Wow, that was fast. His assistant's voice came in, Gavin, your delivery is here. Want me to bring it in? Come in. The assistant entered, placed the takeout on his desk, and then left. Gavin sat there, staring at the 2 sushi trays before him, lost in thought. He snapped a picture and sent it to Anna, asking, why'd you order so much? A while later, Anna responded, I only ordered 1 set. Confused, Gavin closely inspected the 2 packages in front of him. Both had his contact's address, phone number, making it hard to tell what's up. This sushi was pricey and hard to come by, selling out quickly. He liked it so much, sometimes sending his assistant to wait in line for it. Mandy used to get it for him too, but not since the wedding and all the problems that followed, he hadn't touched it. Staring at the 2 sushi boxes for a moment, he eventually tossed one into the trash. He opened the other one and dug in, the familiar taste reminding him of before. Yet, this time, he couldn't help but notice a bitter aftertaste he couldn't quite place. Gavin had given up by now, but thinking about the past still left him a bit wistful. They grew up together, childhood sweethearts, holding hands through countless days and nights. He used to think they'd be together forever, like the couples in those novels who stick by each other through thick and thin. But people change, and who can stay by your side forever anyway? To this day, Gavin couldn't quite grasp if Mandy's kindness was ever genuine. But does it even matter now? Not really. He suppressed his emotions, picked up the file on his desk, and went back to work. These days, Anna frequently messaged him. She seemed a lot more enthusiastic compared to their college days. Gavin, busy as he was, always made time to listen to her chat about random little things. It lightened his mood. Yet, there was still something bothering him. Maybe Mandy knew he didn't want to see her, so she sent stuff every day. Luxurious gifts and roses kept showing up. Gavin opened a velvet box on his desk, revealing a fancy designer watch. Surrounding the strap were crystals glimmering softly, looking understated yet sophisticated. He gave it a quick glance, then shut the box and set it aside. Thinking back to when he first took over as CEO of GM Group, he had loads on his plate, much more than now. Mandy was also busy with her family's business. They hardly found time to meet, only managing brief phone chats. Despite living in the same city, they basically had a long-distance relationship. Gavin once joked about it to Mandy. She took it seriously and started sending him gifts daily and planning little surprises. Watching her efforts to make him happy touched him back then. Now, it seems Mandy is trying those tricks again to spark some nostalgia. But it's too late. This time, nothing's gonna make him look back. Having figured it all out, he called his assistant. From now on, if Mandy sends anything, just ditch it downstairs. Don't bring it up. The assistant paused, then replied, Got it, Gavin. That night, Gavin didn't work late. He clocked out on time for dinner with Anna. Half an hour later, he pulled up to the chosen restaurant. Anna was there already, seeming to have waited a bit. He quickly walked over, slightly apologetic. Why so early? Been waiting long? Anna turned, a soft smile on her face. Not really, I just got here. They went inside together. At their reserved table, Gavin pulled out a chair for Anna. Have a seat. Thank you. He smiled at her and sat across from her. The server handed them menus. Anna kept it simple with a steak, then put down her menu, glancing at Gavin. Not having much of an appetite, he skimmed through his options and randomly picked a few dishes. Sitting by the window, Anna had a view of the city lights outside. Gavin, chin in hand, got lost in the scenery beyond the large glass. Anna mirrored his pose, quietly taking in his handsome profile. The peaceful vibe broke only when their food arrived. Gavin realized he'd been out of it and awkwardly said, "Sorry, just tired." So, Anna cut him off, her voice gentle. "No worries, no need for formalities with me." She added, "But if you're tired, why not take a break?" Since Anna returned, she'd heard about the buzz over Gavin and Mandy's divorce. Gavin shook his head, his smile a bit resigned. "I'm my parents' only kid. They're not getting any younger, and GM Group's all on me. So stopping isn't an option." Taken aback, Anna nodded, then said, "Running such a big company alone is impressive. A break now and then won't hurt. Don't push yourself too hard. Relaxing could help." Gavin smiled appreciatively. "Thanks. I'll try to slow down." Later, they finished dinner. It was late when they stepped out. The conversation had been pleasant, continuing as they strolled back. The chilly evening air made Gavin shiver in his light clothes. Anna quickly unwound the scarf from her neck and wrapped it around him. He paused, catching a hint of jasmine scent that made his cheeks warm. Gavin buried his face in the scarf and murmured, "Thanks. No problem, it's late. Want me to drive you?" Anna stood close, their arms brushing occasionally. A subtle tension filled the air. Gavin felt awkward, cleared his throat. "No, I drove myself." Anna didn't push, just smiled and was about to speak when a familiar female voice cut through. "Gavin." Startled, he turned to see Mandy approaching, looking angry. Anna glanced over too. Gavin's confusion grew. What was Mandy doing here? Anna saw Mandy coming at them with a fierce look, so she quickly stepped up in front of Gavin. Mandy's face darkened even more as she saw this. She briskly walked over to them, giving Anna a cold look. Even though it had been years, Mandy recognized her in an instant. She couldn't stand Anna since their college days. Anna knew Gavin was her boyfriend back then, but still found ways to spend time with him. Mandy had just finished a business meeting in the area and saw Gavin and Anna looking awfully close while walking together. Anna had stayed abroad for years and conveniently returned when they were getting a divorce. It all seemed too planned to Mandy. She was determined not to let Anna take advantage of the situation. With these thoughts, she gave Anna an icy stare. Anna met her gaze unflinchingly. The tension in the air was palpable. Gavin stepped out from behind Anna, breaking the silent standoff. Mandy looked at him, her expression softening a bit. "Gavin, did you receive the gifts I had sent over to your office?" Gavin replied with a blank expression. "Yeah, I had my assistant toss them. Let's not waste each other's time with pointless gestures like that anymore." Mandy felt a sting at his words but forced a smile. "If you don't like them, then forget it," she said. Gavin sighed, not wanting to dwell on this pointless conversation, and shifted his attention to Anna. Anna quickly caught on, linking her arm with Gavin's and leaned in closer. "Let's go, Gavin. Can you drop me home?" Gavin smiled and agreed, turning to leave with her. Mandy stood frozen, her eyes stinging at the sight. It felt like her heart had a huge, gaping hole letting in an icy wind. After that day, Mandy stopped sending gifts to his work. Mandy's recent actions weren't kept under wraps and soon became a hot topic among their social circle. Gavin's mom eventually called him, expressing worry. "Gavin, what's going on in your mind about Mandy's recent actions?" Sensing her concern, Gavin chuckled. "Don't worry, Mom. I'm not getting back together with her." His mom still seemed uneasy. "But you two grew up together and loved each other for so many years." I'm concerned you might. Gavin interrupted firmly. Mom, that's all in the past. I decided on the divorce and I'm not looking back. Hearing him out, his mom felt relieved and told him to get some rest before hanging up. A few days later, at a charity gala, guests mingled among clinking glasses. Gavin maintained a polite smile as he mingled. Suddenly, he heard a delighted voice behind him. Gavin? Turning, he saw Anna's lovely face. What are you doing here? He asked. My grandma asked me to show up. I was about to leave. Then I saw you, Anna replied, tapping her glass against his before taking a sip. Gavin followed suit. As the evening dragged on, they laughed and chatted, making the dull event more bearable. Meanwhile, from a distance, Mandy watched with dark eyes from where she stood. Gavin's smile seemed like a sharp knife. She used to be the one beside him, the one he smiled at like that. Feeling a weight pressing on her chest, she was barely able to breathe. Mandy. Justin had been standing by Mandy for a long while, but her attention had never strayed from Gavin. He finally spoke up, a hint of hurt in his voice. Yet Mandy still didn't respond. Last time, Justin had run off drinking in misery before being found and brought back home. Since then, Mandy only sent people to ensure he got his medications. She never came to see him. At this party, he had hoped to see Mandy again. Instead, he was met with her indifference. Seeing how Mandy was lost over Gavin only fueled Justin's resentment. Once, he was the center of Mandy's world. She had always shielded him from any pain. But now, glancing once more at Mandy, before he bitterly turned his gaze to Gavin's direction, Justin stormed off, anger radiating off him. Elsewhere, feeling uneasy from having drunk too much during the event, Gavin excused himself for the restroom. Inside, he washed up, enjoying the calm, the sound of running water echoing in the quiet space. As he turned to leave, Justin appeared before him. Gavin stopped, eyeing Justin warily. What do you want? Justin stared back, a sarcastic laugh escaping him. What can I possibly do? Mandy's so smitten with you now. I don't get it. You're divorced. Why still toy with her, making her lose sleep over you? Justin's hidden resentment spilled out, his usual polite demeanor twisted with anger. Gavin's demeanor turned icy. Unlike you, some of us don't need to manipulate to earn love. Justin's facade cracked, his words hitting a nerve. Anger replaced his embarrassment. You're so smug. But Mandy's feelings for me are true. She even told me herself. Gavin cut him off, weary of this pointless confrontation. Mandy's feelings for anyone, they're irrelevant to me. Because if she truly loved you, you wouldn't need to stand here justifying it to me. Without looking at Justin even once, Gavin walked around him and left. Returning to the banquet hall, Anna was still waiting in the same spot for him. By then, the charity gala was halfway through. Gavin quickly made his way to her side. Anna asked with concern, "Why did you take so long?" Gavin paused for a moment and replied, "I ran into an old friend on the way and couldn't help but chat for a bit." Anna nodded and glanced at her phone screen. The gala's almost over. Are you heading back now? Thinking about what had just happened in the restroom, Gavin pondered for a moment before nodding. Yeah, let's go together. The two walked out of the banquet hall. As they were about to part ways, Anna suddenly turned to him with a gentle look in her eyes. Gavin, it's still early. Can you come with me somewhere? Gavin was taken aback, asking with a hint of curiosity. Where? Anna smiled with a hint of mischief, her eyes becoming more intense. You'll find out when we get there. Gavin was surprised for a few seconds, but eventually gave in to her expectant gaze. Anna's smile deepened as she opened the passenger door and invited him inside. When Gavin bent down to sit, he noticed her hand protectively hovering over his head to prevent a bump. If Gavin didn't understand her intentions by now, he'd be pretty clueless. Realizing what was going on, Gavin suddenly felt unsure of how to deal with her. Anna seemed to sense his thoughts and turned to give him a reassuring smile. Relax, I just want to show you the place. I don't have any other plans. Gavin's face warmed up as he nodded quickly. Anna didn't say more and they drove in silence. Gavin stared at the moving landscape outside, lost in thought. After about half an hour, the car finally stopped. Anna got out and walked around to open the door for him. Feeling a bit awkward, Gavin quickly exited the car. As soon as he steadied himself and saw the scene before him, he froze in surprise. Staring wide-eyed at Anna, he exclaimed, "Is this the small grove behind the university?" Anna nodded with a smile, leading him to a bench by the grove's lake. Gavin found himself comfortable walking beside her back at the familiar university setting. Everything around the grove felt unchanged, and he couldn't believe how it remained untouched over the years. At this hour, several couples were also strolling by the lake. Sitting on the bench, the subtle scent of flowers wafting in the air helped Gavin leave all his worries behind. For a moment, he felt like he was back in his carefree student days. "Anna, thank you for bringing me here," he said. "I told you, no need to thank me, but since I've been back, you keep saying it." Anna replied with a slight teasing tone. Gavin was caught off guard, then chuckled, "Today is different. I really mean it." Anna looked into his eyes, playfully challenging, "So all those times before, you didn't mean it?" Gavin hurriedly waved his hands. "Of course not." Anna laughed lightly, letting a breeze skim over the shimmering lake surface. Gavin suddenly asked, "Anna, why did you bring me here?" Hearing this, Anna lowered her head, falling silent for a long while. Just when Gavin thought she wouldn't answer, she softly spoke, "I just felt you've been too stressed lately and wanted you to unwind. But there's another reason you might not want to hear." Seeing the hint of sadness on her face, Gavin immediately sensed what she meant. He looked down, staying silent. Back in college, Anna was always kind to him, but she never crossed any lines to show she liked him. Gavin's mind was now in a whirlwind, unsure of how to react. Anna was unlike Mandy. She was gentle and attentive, always considering others' feelings. Gavin admired her but wasn't sure about his feelings. Especially since he had just gone through a failed marriage, he wasn't ready for another relationship. They continued to sit in silence on the bench in the grove for a long time. Eventually, Anna stood up, telling him, "Let's go. It's getting late." Gavin bit his lip and followed her. Back in the car, Anna asked for his address before going silent again. Feeling the heavy atmosphere, Gavin rolled down the window. Cold winds rushed in, messing his hair into a tangled mess. Anna let out a deep sigh and said hoarsely, "Gavin, I've never expected you to agree to be with me, so I don't want my feelings to burden you. This trip back home, I did have some selfish motives, but if you're not willing, I won't push you." Gavin was taken aback and turned to look at her. Anna's eyes were sincere, and she wore a gentle smile on her face. Gavin instantly felt relieved and softly said, "Thank you for your feelings. You're amazing, and I'm sure you'll meet someone who feels the same way." Anna smiled and lowered her eyes to hide her disappointment. Hopefully, the awkward tension in the car dissolved completely. Anna dropped him off at his place and then drove away. Gavin watched her leave, then turned and entered the building, taking the elevator up. After a day's work, he was exhausted and just wanted to rest. But as soon as he exited the elevator, he saw Mandy, drunk and sitting in front of his door. He approached, the strong smell of alcohol hitting him, and frowned immediately. Mandy's head drooped as she mumbled incoherently. It was the first time Gavin had seen Mandy in such a state. Mixed emotions filled him as he crouched down to tap her shoulder. "Mandy, wake up. Don't sleep at my door." After a moment, Mandy opened her eyes groggily and, recognizing him, forced a smile. "Gavin, you're finally back." Seeing she was awake, Gavin stood up expressionless. "Since you're up, go home. I need to rest." Mandy stumbled as she stood, her eyes red and pained. "Gavin, I know I was wrong. I'll agree to whatever you say from now on. Can you just give me another chance?" Seeing him and Anna chatting happily at the event today had driven her mad. Gavin kept silent with a stern face. Mandy reached out, but he dodged her touch. Instantly, Mandy felt like her heart was being ripped in two. Gavin said, "Mandy, we're adults. We have to take responsibility for our actions and words. When you hurt and threatened me for Justin, did you not foresee today?" Mandy's hands clenched tightly, unable to utter a word in reply. If she'd known, She would never have acted like that. After speaking, Gavin moved behind her to unlock his door. Just as he was about to go inside, she suddenly hugged him from behind. Mandy buried her head in his waist, her voice crackling. "Gavin, I don't want to let go. Please give me another chance." Gavin frowned with irritation and tried to push her away, but then he froze. Mandy was crying. Within moments, he shook it off and forcefully pushed her away. "Clinging like this just makes me dislike you more. Mandy, if you truly regret it, let go. Don't keep bothering me," he said. Mandy stood there stunned. Her once cold eyes now filled with pain. Gavin paid no heed to her and walked inside, shutting the door firmly behind him. Anna had stayed in M-City for almost half a month and was ready to head back to the States. On the day of her departure, Gavin saw her off at the airport. He didn't know if they'd meet again, so he hugged her tightly in farewell. Anna seemed to understand too, and hugged him back, wishing him well. After that, Mandy still pestered him for quite a while. But Gavin chose to ignore it, focusing on his own life. Under his leadership, GM Group thrived, and he gradually found more time to spend with his parents and explore the world. From then on, Mandy was no longer a part of Gavin's life. Awaiting him was a vast world and a life of freedom.